Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to be going over air superiority and how it works, how it affects units in combat. So to start off with, I've got 100 planes up. The French have none. So the first thing we'll notice is anti-air reduces your air superiority by 5 points per level. So they have 3 anti-air, so we're losing 15. So we only have 85 air power. But that's still 100% superiority. So are we going to be applying the full penalty? Well, no. There's a penalty in combat when you have air superiority. This is reduced by AA, which is part of the reason why AA is so good. It only applies to defense or breakthrough. As it stands right now, we're applying a 12.7% penalty with 85 air power. So if the enemy has no air, how much air do we need to get that up to the base max, which is 35%? So let's go from 100 to 200, and we'll see how much that does for us. So at 200, we're now applying a 25.4% penalty. That's pretty nice. We're probably going to need 300 to apply the full penalty though. Not quite. What if we put up all 500? It's still negative 33.2%. If we come up here to Holland and we put up all 500 planes, so when we attack here, we'll see we're applying the full negative 35% penalty with the same number of planes. So why are we getting 35% penalty up here, but only a 33.2% penalty down here? Well, if you'll notice, I was attacking the hills. That minus 5% air support applies to the air superiority penalty. If I'd come over here, it's now negative 35%. So we need about 300 planes when the enemy has no planes to get the max air support penalty. And a bunch of different terrain types have different amounts. So if we attack into the forest here, they're only going to get a 31.5% penalty because there's minus 10% air support. That also applies to Cass. Let's go up to Holland though. Let's give them 500 planes. I've put up 500 planes. So with the enemy having 500 planes up, how many planes do I need to get that penalty up to the max? Well, if we consult the wiki is wrong. It says 50 points of air superiority advantage gives a 1% air support penalty to enemy land combat defense and breakthrough. That's not true. That's not even close to true. So if we put up 1,000 planes, this will give us 500 points of air superiority. 500 points of air superiority, according to this math, is 10% because we have 10 groups of 50 points more than them. So if we let the game run for a little bit so that they get their air superiority mission efficiency, and now we attack, well, the penalty they're getting is 11.6%. That's more than they're supposed to be getting. They're only supposed to be getting 10. Okay, so to get the max, let's assume the wiki's right and do the math. So if I want to get a 35% penalty and I need 50 per point, I need 1,750 planes to get that max bonus. More, right? According to the wiki? Wrong. At 2,500 planes, we have 2,000 more planes. That should be the full penalty, right? According to the wiki? Wrong. 23.3%. This is a logarithmic scale. It is not a linear scale. If we just go up to 5,000 planes, we now have 4,500 more air superiority than them. They're getting a 28.6% penalty. So is it possible to get the full penalty? Well, I'll just double these guys again. So now we've got 10,000 planes up versus 500. And even now we're only getting a 31.6% penalty. It is not feasible if the enemy has any air power to get the max enemy air superiority penalty applied to enemy divisions. On top of that, if we just tag to Holland, what you can do to counter this if you're not going to have air superiority is just put in some AA. A single support AA, but now they're reducing our air superiority by 8.3%. On top of the fact that just having 500 planes up is already reducing it. You're really not going to have 10,000 planes here. Maybe you have 4. So now we're only getting an 18.9% penalty. That would have been about a 27% penalty without the AA. That's a nice penalty. It's going to make it easier to break enemy divisions, but it's not the full penalty. So while I don't know what the actual proper math here is, it is not 50 points equals 1%. So that's the main part of air superiority. If we go down here and we do the doctrine, just grant myself XP so we don't mess this up. At this point, I've gotten all of the air superiority bonuses from this doctrine, which if we let the game update, that's 130%. This is the maximum you can get from air doctrines. Superior firepower left does give you an extra 20%. So now I'm gonna put down all of the Dutch planes just to demonstrate this. With 10,000 planes up against none, we're gonna get the max penalty of 35%, right? Well, no. We are now getting a 45.5% penalty, or well, we're applying that penalty. That's because it's just 35% times 1.3, 45.5. That's all air superiority from Doctrine does. Applies a 1.3 times multiplier, or whatever your bonus is. Now the other half of this is ground support. Now Cass is great because it does damage in battles, but Cass is also great for another reason. If we actually find our Cass, let's just deploy 400. Why 400? I don't know, I just randomly picked 400. So not only is Cass going to help us apply this enemy air superiority bonus, it also gives you an air support bonus, Right now we're getting 12.8%. Now I'm going to switch off our doctrine just temporarily so that that's not impacting this. We're getting a 25% bonus without doctrine. If we go do battlefield support, again, we can get 2 bonuses, ground support 20% here, and then also again right here. So that's 40% ground support. So we're now getting 35% ground support. It works the same way. It is a 1.4 times multiplier. That's it. But it only happens when your planes are actively supporting the combat. And they support the combat for 8 hours at a time. I'm going to give the Dutch AA just to demonstrate this. So having given the Dutch AA, now if I attack into this tile from 2 directions, their AA is going to reduce the amount of ground support damage my bombers do. But when I have bombers here, I'm still going to get the same amount of air support based on the number of planes I have. If you've maxed out the amount of air support you can have in the battle, you're going to get the full 35%. And for that bonus, it does not matter whose cast it is, just that the cast exists. And the bonus applied is based on your doctrine, both for the air superiority penalty to the enemy and the air support bonus you're getting from casts. Those are based on your doctrine, even if it's other people's planes. Now, the way AA interacts with this air superiority bonus is the air superiority bonus gets applied first, and then AA reduces it. So if I was to give myself more air superiority bonus and let the game tick, it's now up to negative 37.2, which is 8.3 less than 45. Anyways, how much air superiority do you want to maximize your performance in combat? As much as you can get. And just because you don't have as many planes as the enemy doesn't mean you can't do something. It'll be expensive. You'll basically be throwing away these planes, but I am able to reduce this penalty by another 8%. That was 37%. Now it's 29%. Just by putting up 1,000 planes into 10,000. So contesting air is important if you can afford it. Also, don't forget about terrain. Terrain significantly reduces the effectiveness of air superiority. It's why taking urban can be so hard at times because it provides a minus 50% enemy air support penalty. It just makes your stuff worse. Anyways, that is everything you need to know about air superiority and its impact on combat. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.